Hello everyone, my name is Tanya Aguiniga, and yes, I do have a studio down the hall. So if any of you guys come back tomorrow, it'll be open, and the Craft and Folk Art Museum is going to have their booth set up in my space. But anyways, my work, it was really weird when I got this whole assignment because I'm a furniture designer and maker, and I primarily work alone, just in my studio making things, tinkering away. And so yeah, so I work a lot with textiles, and I do a lot of work where I kind of incorporate community activism into what I do. And so the way that I got involved in community activism type stuff is I'm from Tijuana, and I worked for 6 years in a community in Tijuana that is a land squat run by women made out of trash from the US. And so from there I kind of took on some other projects, primarily working with artisans. And so this is in Chiapas, working with Mayan artisans. And then this is a show of the collaborative work that we did. And then, sorry, I had to do all these plugs. So this is a show that's up currently at the Craft and Folk Art Museum, which is a solo show that I have. And like I said, they'll be in my space tomorrow. And the latest show, which I finished 2 days ago at 5 a.m., for the opening of La Plaza de Cultura y Artes in downtown. So anyways, our challenge. I was partnered up with the 100,000 Homes campaign, and it was myself and David San Miguel, who's sitting right over there, who worked with me on the project. And so the 100,000 Homes campaign it was such an amazing project just because they had the ability to actually transform people's lives, which is something that I don't usually get the opportunity to work with people who can physically transform somebody's life. And so there's these pictures before and after of one of the clients that they had worked with, and this is in Arizona. And so their goal is to house 100,000 of the nation's most vulnerable homeless people, and it's by July 2013. And so I got the absolute pleasure to work with Becky, who's over there and will come up soon. And so Becky directs the 100,000 Homes campaign, and she also is working with Home for Good and Common Ground, again, to house 100,000 of the nation's most vulnerable homeless people. And by most vulnerable homeless people, it's people that are, critically ill, people that are disabled, people that are chronically homeless. And so they do this amazing thing where they go out and they organize all these huge events where people will go out into different cities and talk to a bunch of people to kind of write down who they administer this vulnerability index to figure out who are the people that are most at risk and need to be housed most immediately. And so the challenge that they presented to us was that they wanted to get the whole system of housing the most vulnerable homeless people down to 10 steps in less than 10 days or 10 days. And by working together and kind of going through all the steps that are currently conducted in different cities, the worst case scenario was 44 steps in 2 years to house the most vulnerable homeless people. And so, again, trying to get it down to 10 days and 10 steps was a really, really huge challenge. And so what we did is we took a look at what was done in different cities and their process analysis of, all the different kind of bureaucratic systems that they have to sail through to get somebody housed. And so our issue when we, narrowed everything down was to visualize a system that would help train the 100,000 Homes campaign and Home for Good staff during their housing placement boot camp. And so the housing placement boot camp was also to celebrate the joining of two different organizations, which is Common Ground and Home for Good, which are going to be helping the 100,000 Homes campaign in getting 100,000 people housed. And so it was this really gigantic challenge, just because the process is super, super complicated, and the housing process is super complicated, based on if the person's disabled, if the person's a veteran. So there's all these different systems that you could kind of tap into based on, what the person's situation is. And so what we did is working together, we kind of, got the system all visually out and then narrowed it down to what the steps for moving into a house are. And so at the top here, you can see for you and me the steps that we have to go through. So it's about 4 steps. And then someone who's homeless, and this is just normal homeless, not like disabled, veteran, any of that, mentally disabled, anything. And so it's a really, really crazy difference between one and the other. And so what we did being in LA, we kind of tried to come up with a system that was really understandable that could help train people for this homeless placing boot camp. And so I started looking at a lot of like road signs and just how, you know, maybe all of the freeway craziness could kind of symbolize the bureaucracy that people have to go through. So what we did is we came up with a game that they could play during the boot camp. And so it was the Road to 100,000 Homes. And so what we really wanted to do is have all the possible like road signs of all the different steps that you have to do, and then encourage people while playing this game to get rid of as many steps as possible. And so they had to go into this like not working area. And so the people would win if they got it down to the least amount of steps. And so one thing that was really, really amazing is, and this is in my studio, which is of course down the hall, is that Becky was able to get, I mean, I don't remember how many people it was. It must have been like 20 something, or at least it seemed like 20 something people in my tiny studio. And so she invited, sorry, I have to like look at my notes. It was Get Love, the Weingart Center, AmeriCorps, and Housing Works, as well as people from, you know, Common Ground, Home for Good, 100,000 Homes campaign. We're all here. And so we had all these people that actually work in doing this, look at the system that we had devised and play the game with us. And it was really amazing just to see how many people actually cared to make the system work, and how many people cared to drive all the way over from Santa Monica and from different places over to Atwater to help us figure out how to make this system work. And so this is the first draft was, this is the first time that they played the game. And so everyone kind of helped us narrow it down to what steps we needed, what kind of systems we needed to get down. And so David and I worked together to devise, these are all graphics for magnets that get printed on laser paper. And so what happens is during the boot camp, every person that participates, or every city that participates, is gonna get this whole setup where they can print, haha, oops. Yay. Thank you. So they'll be able to print graphics on vinyl, which they attach to, we're actually doing rollable whiteboards. And so the rollable whiteboards will be distributed to people in a box with this whole set of stuff. And so all the graphics will get printed on inkjet magnetic paper, which then get cut, and then you can actually use to draw out what your system is for your city. And then the goal is for you to, again, get it down to the least number of steps. And then also the other thing is that was really important to everyone, especially to help the 100,000 Homes campaign, is that it was really important for us to be able to figure out a way to track how many people each city had been able to place in a home. And so this one's a little bit different, but you can see up here, the bottom portion of it is a space so that you can, or so each city can track how many people they've actually housed. And so then they can also have their clients see, you know, where they are in the process. They can see that other people are going through the same process. And because it is something that, like I said, can take up to 2 years for them to get into a home, they can see that other people have gone through it, they've made it through. And so it's something to kind of encourage their homeless clients to stick with it and be able to, you know, see it all the way through. And so, oops, that's not mine. Okay, and so I think, yeah, the super amazing thing is that, like I said, I'm a furniture designer. I don't usually do stuff like this. And so it was really awesome to be able to work with everyone. And it's been really exciting to see that it's something that turned into a product that's going to be used, and something that's going to be used within a couple of months. It's already going to go into, you know, well, not into production because we have to help produce it, but it's going to be produced. And it's going to be used to help, train people how to house the most amount of vulnerable homeless people the quickest. So that's it.